Ready to vote. 8 to 10 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters honored guests. I'm sporting the jacket tonight. It was at a luncheon today. So, your liberty is under attack. Senator Dianne Feinstein, President Barack Obama, newscaster Piers Morgan, and others have been attacking, launching a concentrated effort on the Second Amendment. President Barack Obama with 23 executive orders last week. Senator Dianne Feinstein just today, just read it before I came in here, another 158 esoteric bans on assault weapons introduced in Congress. And of course, newscaster Piers Morgan has been launching his argument for the previous month plus on his CNN talk show. So I've kind of laid the context a little bit. I want to just dive into it. What is behind their argument? Why are they attacking the Second Amendment? No one really knows. It's just kind of happening. So I'm going to take my evidence from Piers Morgan's show. He was arguing probably one of the biggest advocates of the Second Amendment. And he kept saying that in Great Britain, there have been 30 gun homicides in the previous year. I think 2011, the statistics tend to come out about a year late. And in the US, there was about 11,000 plus gun homicides. And he kept returning to this figure again and again as if it really meant something, that if you take away the guns, suddenly we have less violence. But it was actually just gun homicide statistics. It doesn't include all the other crime statistics out there. And this point's maybe a little debatable for some, but I'm going to go ahead and say that it's the more rational point of view that we want to look at overall crime. If we want to ban guns, it should be to reduce overall crime. So I'm just going to stick with that. So you see that, okay, so in Great Britain we have 30 gun homicides, in the US 11,000 plus. But the overall crime rate is much higher in Great Britain, and it's actually among the highest in Europe. And the overall crime rate is much lower in the US, and you can check 2011 FBI crime statistics for that one. The gun, I'm saying, is actually, and this is just one argument you could put out there, is actually a deterrent to crime. And you rarely ever hear about this. But in Great Britain, because they've taken away guns, suddenly you have other weapons that are introduced, such as the baseball bat, the rock, a whole host of other things that are used to actually kill people. So it's not the instrument, it's the person that's doing it. Isn't that in Happy Gilmore? They said guns don't kill people, people kill people, or something. Or that's just a shirt out there, and it's true. The gun is an instrument. It is not actually doing the killing. So now that we've kind of looked into why, or what's behind these arguments out there currently, this is current events, if it's not very rational, their argument, like I'm saying, how are they doing it? How are they launching this attack on the Second Amendment? And I say that they're pulling your heartstrings. They're using an emotional appeal. It started with the Sandy Hook massacre, of course. Very terrible that kids and teachers were violently killed by assault weapons. An extremely horrendous, horrendous thing. But you have to remember that assault weapons are an even smaller portion of overall crime than just guns. So you kind of have to conclude from that that there's maybe a little other motive there, that they're using this idea of banning assault weapons as maybe, you know, trying to sneak in some other bans on your Second Amendment as well. In the words of Rahm Emanuel, no crisis, good crisis ever goes to waste. So that's why you see on Piers Morgan, he'll continually reference it again and again, that kids and teachers died. He'll have the people on to talk and to talk to people who are supporting the Second Amendment. It's all to use emotional appeal. And when President Barack Obama introduced his executive orders, he had children behind him, as if that was supposed to mean something about why he's banning your guns, when in fact we know from statistics that it's not going to lead to a decrease in overall crime. So now that we've first looked at what's behind the argument being advanced, it's not very rational. Maybe how they're doing it, they're using the emotional appeal. They're trying to say that, you know, you're for kids dying if you're for the Second Amendment. You know, using all these really low swipes at real rationality. And it's very upsetting to me. So, in conclusion, I would like to get into why. Why is this happening? What are the larger forces at work here, you know, maybe bigger than any one person, that you may even see throughout history? And I would say that that's liberty versus tyranny. And you see it again and again and again in the period of the Founding Fathers, where John Adams, Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, and others argued that the Second Amendment was essential to protecting liberty throughout history. And it was going to be important for this republic as well. And that's why it's in the Bill of Rights. On the other hand, you have tyranny, places represented by Mao's China, Stalin's Russia, and still today, Kim Jong-il's North Korea, where, according to a University of Hawaii study, what is called democide was rampant, and that is death by government. Over 292 million people in the 21st century died as a direct result of government. And it was primarily in those tyrannies, such as Stalin's Russia, Mao's China, where all of this happened. And of course, there's no gun rights whatsoever in those places. And you have to wonder why. I mean, that's not the one thing that's making it a tyranny, but it's one part of the restriction of liberties that ultimately leads to rampant death. So I'm arguing that guns are a deterrent to overall crime. Guns are a deterrent to tyranny and to authoritarianism. And that I ask you all to be on the side of liberty and with the Second Amendment. Mr. Toastmaster.